Let us play the game of pretending to be true. Xiefeng. September 19th, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Holographic thinking recognizes no difference between truth and falseness, just as the subconsciousness mind does not distinguish between either. The non-material world only recognizes information but does not distinguish between those two opposites. Therefore, playing the game of pretending something to be true can be very interesting. A man came to Buddha and asked, "Buddha, let 100 families provide for me." As a result, he became a beggar, and they did. A woman came to Buddha and prayed, "Buddha, let others serve me." As a result, she became ill and her relatives served her in bed all day and all night. Let us start playing now. People around a healthy man told him pitifully and seriously, "You look horrible. You must be ill." Everyone kept telling him this until he soon became ill. You can fool yourself. For example, your kidneys are both good, but you keep thinking that something is wrong with them. After a few days, both of them fail, and you will be relegated to being on dialysis treatment. You think, "It is such a pain to work every day. I wish I could lie in bed for a few days." Soon, you will be suffering, if not from a stomach pain, a headache, or nerve damage, then it will be from your having sprained or broken your leg. You will surely be lying helplessly in bed for a few days. Those three pretend games are all passive, negative, and pessimistic, and we should never play them. Let us play active, sunny, optimistic, and positive games such as these 8. If you feel ill or have a disease, then you will need to pretend to be healthy. You should believe in your heart that you are not sick, that every part of your body is well. After pretending this for a while, you will recover soon. If you hate someone, even to the point of wanting to spit in their face, then you must pretend that you like them very much and tell them things like, "Handsome, you look cool, you are the greatest." After a short while, you will no longer hate them. When you are eating but you have no appetite and the food seems bland and tasteless, you should pretend that you like the food in front of you. If you do your best to convince yourself that the food is delicious, nutritious, and perfect, that you enjoy it very much and that many people in today's world are suffering from hunger and malnutrition, but that you are blessed to have such wonderful food, then from what had been a simple and boring meal, you will enjoy tasty delicacies. Someone is indifferent or unconcerned about you, so you should pretend that they treat me the best, they care for and love me the most. After a while, they will become the one who does all three. If you feel yourself becoming aloft, then you should pretend to be transcendent, natural, and elegant. Over time, your worldliness will drift away. If something is bothering you, then you should let others see your vigorous, high-spirited, and confident side. Pretending this way will soon rid you of your troubles. If you have expired drugs or stale food, you should think this way: panacea will be born from my old stuff. If I consume them, then all my ailments will disappear and I will also see unexpected benefits, and you will become rejuvenated and be in an amorous mood. Whatever you truly believe will be fine and good for you. When you encounter stoppages that annoy you and make you hesitant, you should think, "The greatest creator loves me the most, and the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, through Tao, will definitely arrange the best plan for me." Then, do not worry about it any longer, for it will surely come to pass. Keep pretending that lies are true until they become as such. You can draw inferences about other cases from these 8 instances and pretend that all ugly truths are actually beautiful lies until beautiful truths are eventually born. Such fun games require few investments but offer great benefits and are worthy of your seriously performing and enjoying them. Pretending to be true is to create a state of mind with your heart. These are the lowest levels of games that celestial beings play. We need to play them more often.
跟导游混，跟导游疯。
Follow the guide and play crazily with him. Xiefeng. December 2nd, 2020. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. The sun rose at exactly 8 o'clock this morning, showing half of its face above the top of a tree near Lac La Hatch. It turned dark at 4:30 p.m., and by 5 o'clock, I had lit all the lights both in the corridor and outside. Near the summer solstice, dawn breaks at 4 in the morning, and it does not get dark until 11 at night. During our summers, days last 19 hours, but nights are only 5 hours long. But in winter, days are only 9 hours long while nights last a full 15 hours. So, how much daylight and nighttime have I experienced throughout the year? The answer is that the total lengths of days and nights are exactly the same as anywhere else in the world. This revelation tells us that the greatest creator gives equal blessings to everyone. Here is the big question though. Why do some people seem to have more blessings, while others have fewer? The blessings from the greatest creator are constant. I compare them to these 100 yuan. A dying father gave each of his 6 children a pre-inflated 100 yuan legacy on his deathbed. The first one invested the inheritance in stocks and now has more fortunes. The second invested the gift to learn a craft. At first, the inheritance was almost gone, but after a few years of developing skills, fortune came and a comfortable life was achieved. The third one recycled the gift to a church hospital and was awarded a maintenance job in the hospital for doing so, and lived a satisfied life with a small but adequate income. The fourth one bought a set of high-end clothes and went into and out of high-grade hotels, restaurants, and casinos all day, eating, drinking, and playing. In a few years, all of the money was gone, and the recipient had to beg for food on the streets. The fifth one bought several guns with the yuan and gathered some criminals to rob people, until finally being thrown into prison. I forgot what the sixth one did, but you can figure something out. In this way, we can understand that the greatest gives everyone the same amount of blessings, but why some people have so much more than others? Since I understand this, I know that I should eat all the rice from my bowl at every meal. If anything remains, I will never throw it away but will save the leftovers to eat the next day because I know that I only have a limited number of blessings and once I consume or waste them all, none will be left and I will hungry. Of course, I dare not buy extra clothes and shoes, so I wear my clothes until they become unwearable. Right now, I have a cotton shirt on with 2 sleeves that are worn out. No one can see it anyway, so I will continue to wear it for as long as it keeps me warm. Would you like me to treat myself more luxuriously and extravagantly? Over my dead body? No way. I am not afraid of people talking about me, but I am afraid that I will starve or go naked after all my blessings run out. Yuan Tiangang, the author of the 2-Abe prophecy diagram, met Wu Zetian, a baby in swaddling clothes, who was deliberately called a boy by his parents. After practicing physiognomy, reading faces, on the baby, he remarked, "This child has the emperor's face, a dragon's eyes, a phoenix's neck, and looks as noble as Fushi. If she is a girl, then she will master the world." Author Liu Bowen, who wrote the tablet inscription of the Jinling Tower, said in his inscription 600 years ago, Jinling Tower, Lu Ji built it, Jie will demolish it." It turned out that the Jinling Tower was built by Lu Ji and was demolished by Chiang Kai-shek, Jiang Jie in Mandarin, 600 years later. On August 22, 2019, Indian prodigy Anand uploaded a video on YouTube in which he predicted that the world would enter a difficult period from November of that year until April of the following year. Over those 6 months, a plague would spread around the world and global tensions would intensify, exactly as predicted. What do you think after reading those 3 stories? What I think is that a person's fate is fixed from the moment they are born. What kind of people anyone will become and what they will accomplish have already been set by the greatest creator, so do not struggle blindly anymore. Just follow the guide and play with him crazily. It is easy and simple, so what do you say?
心灵鸡汤是一种麻醉品。
Chicken soup for the soul is an anesthetic. Xiefeng. December 12, 2020. Translated by Quinn Yu and edited by Care. Patients would suffer from unbearable pain if doctors did not give them either local anesthetics or even general anesthesia to allow them to remain calm during their surgical procedures. Anesthetics benefit people when they are used properly, but they are terrible when they are abused, overly used on a regular basis. When people are suffering from worry, pain, anxiety, or fear, and we numb their spirits and souls, they will be relieved of their temporary difficulties and survive. But if those parts of them become anesthetized too much, then they will become soulless, walking corpses. Chemicals cannot relieve human pain forever, and spiritual healing cannot eradicate their trouble, pain, anxiety, sorrow, and fear, and will eventually aggravate their sadness even more. Here are 4 examples to analyze several cases of chicken soup for people's souls to think about. When someone lacks self-confidence, the chicken soup for their soul is, "You are your own God." Analysis. This chicken soup for their soul make them feel great for a while, that they can control their own destinies, and that they are the masters of their universes. As a result, people who consume this chicken soup for their souls become blindly optimistic, arrogant, ignorant, shameless, and they will become mental patients over time. When someone feels like no one loves them, the chicken soup for their soul is, "You should love yourself. As long as you can do that, then the world will be filled with love." Analysis. The effect of this kind of chicken soup for their soul is to make them create illusions and feel that as long as they love themselves, then the world will love them whether the world really does or not, and that as long as they love themselves, the plot of the whole world will turn over and become captive to their love. The result is that they will become more selfish and completely ignore the cruelty of reality. If a person was originally a slacker, then by loving themselves, they will become lazier and lazier. The more that dogs love themselves, the more they become themselves. When someone is disgusted by their surroundings, the chicken soup for their soul is, "You must accept everything." Analysis. After drinking this chicken soup for their soul, they instantly feel that the world is vast, that they rule 100 valleys, and their hearts are widened. As a result, they turn themselves into a dump because dumping sites will absorb everything. When someone feels lost and faces their environments pessimistically, this kind of chicken soup for their soul works well. Look inward, because what you have there decides everything. Analysis. After drinking this kind of chicken soup for their soul, they can calm down and feel that they have been saved. They feel that so long as they look inward, they can solve all the problems that they are facing. The bread will have of, the milk will also have of, as if to become a god is just a piece of cake and the whole world is under their control. The result is that after a long period of seeking inwardly, they will not find villas and supercars or beauty and delicacies, let alone God, Buddha, celestials, saints, or heaven. Gradually, they will finally become expressionless and numb and become more and more separated from the outside world until they become haggard. Such chicken soup for the soul is now full of roads on social media, and this is a sign of the nation's decline because chicken soup for the soul is an anesthetic and will become ineffective after prolonged use. A poor, hungry, emaciated, and malnourished beggar, with a shallow complexion and looking dull, was sitting and worrying on the sidewalk as 4 wise people brought with advice. A nutritionist came along and said to supplement their nutrition by eating more mutton soup and better eat a bowl of bird's nest porridge every day. After a while, a kind-hearted soul came over and said, "It seems that you are not in good shape. It is said that there is a wise personal trainer in America, so do not waste your time sitting here. Hurry up and fly to America to find that specialist for some conditioning." Later, a master came and said, "Look inside yourself. You have all kinds of delicacies and Manchu Han imperial feasts inside yourself. If you concentrate on seeking inwardly, you will have ample food and clothing." Later, an even more enlightened master came and said not to worry about the present. "You are your own God. You must love yourself first, then you will be famous all over the world. Those four people were all offering chicken soup for the beggar's soul.
把有限的人生投入到无限的为众生服务中去。
Put your finite life into the infinite service of all living beings. Xiefeng. December 13th, 2020. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. The greatest values and most perfect qualities of people are embodied in their service to other living beings. The states, moral levels, and patterns of people are measured completely by the quantity and quality of their service to them. The theories and practices of the world are vast, but the ones with the greatest value are the most profound and are the most direct way to embody the value of life and sublimation of life to serve them wholeheartedly. Only those who do this with all their hearts are entitled to go to heaven. Those who accept the teachings of Christ, Buddha, celestials, saints, sages, and wise ones should share one core belief, that is to devote their finite lives to the infinite service of all living beings. When one decides not to care about their gains and losses or successes from their hearts, but puts the force of their whole body and soul into the infinite service of all living beings, that places them in the company of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints, and they will then have embarked completely upon the road to heaven. After that, their minds broaden and their vision becomes vast. Once their roots establish themselves, the way will grow therefrom, and their real spirit, great talent, and virtue will concentrate within them. Their Dharma eyes will then open, and they will see clearly the gods, Buddha, saints, sages, monsters, devils, goblins, ghosts, and evil spirits. They will be able to see what kind of people others are, whether they came from the heaven realm or the animal world, whether one is an ignorant person, a laity, a mortal, a sage, a saint, or a celestial being. They will be able to distinguish truth, falseness, kindness, evil, beauty, and ugliness from complicated phenomena, and will know which way leads to heaven and which way goes to hell. How does one put one's finite life into the infinite service of all living beings? First of all, we should understand what living beings are. They are the lives created by the greatest creator, including all those created by gods and celestial beings according to the greatest creator's will and drawings. These lives include microorganisms, insects, plants, land, water, animals, people, and other various kinds of lives, and serving all these lives is also serving all of their lives. All living beings and the greatest creator are one, so serving the former is ultimately serving the latter. How to serve all living beings? Here are 12 of the many ways that we can serve all living beings. By not thinking of hurting living beings, but of cherishing and taking pity upon them. By not destroying grass, forests, mountains, rivers, or land, but by planting more trees and flowers. By not mistreating or slaughtering animals, eating the meat of wild animals, or destroying their habitats. By creating suitable environments for all living beings, no lives should have their lives cut short. By showing compassion on widows, widowers, orphans, childless couples, protecting the honest, and creating living environments for the toiling masses. By remembering the deaths of Jan Galen's 6 family members every day and thinking about how to avoid the recurrence of such tragedies. By thinking about how to liberate the public from their cages of worry, pain, anxiety, sorrow, and fear, so that everyone can lead happy, joyous, free, blessed, peaceful, and content lives. By letting children enjoy happy childhoods and the elderly enjoy happy old ages. By praising and eulogizing the workers, craftsmen, scientists, artists, selfless people, and saints. By not accumulating material wealth or occupying landed properties, forests, houses, water areas, or money, but by owning nothing. by regarding other people's feelings and opinions as your own and feeling their happiness as your own. By ordaining conscience for heaven and earth, securing life and fortune for the people, propagating lost teachings from past sages, establishing peace for all future generations. When you decide to embark upon the path toward heaven, your heart should be very happy, even excited with passion, because from then on there will be no worries, pain, anxiety, sorrow, or fear, because you will have completely handed yourself to Tao and given in to the cause that you dedicate to and serve. On this road, what others do is their business. You should be neither angry, resentful, nor wrathful, and should not hinder or block others. For example, if someone dumps garbage onto a field, go to clean it up. If they continue dumping, continue cleaning it up. They dump again, you clean up again. We do not stop others from dumping garbage because that is their choice and their way. We have neither reasons nor qualifications to block them from walking their way. Without others dumping their garbage, how would we gain our merits from cleaning it up? Do not expect everyone to be saints, and do not expect evil and barbarism to disappear from the world, let alone expect them to become civilized. The mortal world is the transit station for the upper and lower levels of life. All kinds of life are playing their own script plots here so as to maintain the dynamic balance of life in the universe. Suppose there were only 100 people in the world and 99 of them followed their selfish egos. You must be that one who does not follow yours, because the road of the crowd is the road to destruction. Keep a clear mind. Stick to the road of serving all living beings. Take the way of selflessness and realize that selflessness can accomplish oneself. This is the way of heaven.
上帝一直在看着每一个人。
The greatest creator is always watching everyone. Xiefeng. January 1st, 2021. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. The Chinese sages warned us that there are divinities watching over us. I perceived the revelation that the greatest creator watches everyone when I became the guide of Life Genuine, from the perspective of material thinking, as well as from those of vision, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. We cannot simply understand the phenomenon that the greatest creator is always watching everyone. Nor is it easy to understand that from the perspective of rationality. Can the greatest creator see us all? Can the greatest creator manage it? In the public places of cities, especially in banks, stations, and traffic arteries, cameras are everywhere. All the activities of people within the scope of those cameras are recorded constantly and clearly. If anyone misbehaves within their scope, the records will find them out. Since I became the guide of Life Genuine, all Chanyuan celestials have come into my view. That is to say, I have watched every one of them. Wherever they are and whatever they do, I see them. I hear what everyone says, see what they do, and even know what they think. How can I do this? It is not by Dharma eyes or Buddha eyes, but simply by what they say and do. Every word that anyone says and everything that they do exposes them. If someone says and does nothing, that exposes them even more thoroughly. Why should I stare at everyone? Because I want to be able to implement my guidance consistent with their states of being. Everyone's words and actions show their inner worlds and the depths of their states of being, and I can learn from this who will go to the 1,000-year world, who will go to the 10,000 world, who will go to the Elysium Celestial Islands continent, who will continue to reincarnate, and who will fall into hell. I will adjust my guidance plan according to everyone's states. If some Chanyuan celestials cannot go to heaven no matter how they endeavor to self-cultivate, then I will give up on them as soon as possible and let them fall off my radar screen. This fact tells us that the greatest creator must be watching everyone and guiding us in ways that are not easy for us to detect or understand. The greatest creator is very observant of the words and deeds of each of us and records each of our merits and demerits without omission. From this, we will be given timely rewards and punishments. We can understand the truth that the greatest creator is always watching everyone from these three real-life phenomena. People who raise animals know that however many chickens, ducks, pigs, horses, cows, or sheep they raise, They know almost every detail of each of their animals. Which chickens lay more eggs, which ones lay fewer, which pig is fat, which one is thin, which animals are ill, and which horses have good tempers. It is so clear because the keepers watch the animals constantly. Those who have been teachers know how many students are in each of their classes and the state of each one. You should be very clear if you monitor each student constantly. A couple has 10 children, and they are basically clear about the state of each one because they always monitor them. Some parents might not be able to predict the futures of their children because they do not understand them enough, but that is due to their lack of insight and wisdom, but in any case, they are always watching them. There are so many advantages to becoming aware of the greatest creator always watching everyone. Here are two. The first is that you never dare to speak carelessly, let alone to do anything unruly, because you know that you will be punished if you say or do anything wrong. You will not make mistakes, especially when you are out of everyone's sight. The second is that you will only say the right words and do the right things. And you do not need to worry about anything else because the greatest creator is always watching over you and will surely reward you. As Christ Jesus taught us, do not worry about what you will eat, drink, or wear tomorrow. First ask for the kingdom of the greatest creator and the righteousness of the greatest creator. If at every moment, especially when no one sees us, we think about the greatest creator watching us, then we will no longer dare to talk nonsense or act recklessly. In this way, life will be smoother, and we will be further from hell and closer to heaven. What is more is that when we think like that, we will lose all of our worries, anxieties, and fears, and our lives will follow very wonderful paths. Realizing that the greatest creator is always watching oneself is quite different from not realizing it. If you do not believe it, try it for a period of time and learn its effect. 去生命绿洲不仅要有教养和修养，还要有涵养。A good upbringing and self-cultivation are required in the new oasis for life. And self-restraint is also required. Xiefeng. February 8, 2017. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Upbringing is civilized politeness that is learned from family, school, and society. Self-cultivation is a civilized attitude towards others, which is developed from the level of theory, knowledge, art, thought, and other aspects that a person possesses. Self-restraint is the ability which a person with profound morals possesses to control one's emotions. We have already talked about upbringing and self-cultivation. This article will focus on the issue of self-restraint. A person who can't control his emotions is a person who has no self-restraint. This, pointing out others' defects and deficiencies, tornado in our home showed me that most of our brothers and sisters have self-restraint, which is mainly reflected in the calmness and humility of accepting suggestions and expressing gratitude when others point out their defects and deficiencies. If others point out our defects and deficiencies, not only will we not accept it, but we will also resist it and defend ourselves. This is a serious lack of self-restraint. People who lack upbringing will be thought of with disgust, people who lack self-cultivation will be despised, and people who lack self-restraint will be kept at a respectful distance. Even if the defects and deficiencies that others point out are not in line with the facts, if you defend yourself or resist, or even yell and talk about it everywhere, you are showing no self-restraint. It is clear that you have been misunderstood and misinterpreted, but if you must still accept it with a modest and calm attitude and express your gratitude, that is the expression of profound self-restraint. We can only sail in deep water, and only when we have self-restraint can people respect us and be willing to walk with us. How can we have self-restraint? Set up Mahayana's wish, great vow. Follow the ancient and modern saints. Do not treat yourself as noble. Do not lose your temper. Do not bully honest people. Do not make fun of others. Do not be unreasonable. Do not be unforgiving. Do not make casual promises. Do not impose your will on others. Do not cry and shout. Do not have loose lips. Do not shut yourself up. Do not ask for help easily. Do not make trouble without a reason. Do not interrupt others casually. Do not always teach others. Do not behave badly. Do not act grumpily. Do not look sloppy and messy. And do not hurt people with words. The future new oasis for life will no longer be like the original second home. You cannot stay long without a good upbringing, self-cultivation, and self-restraint. Please make the effort.
付出奉献不要带有目的。
Give and devote unconditionally. Xiefeng. February 21st, 2017. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Peter, the devotion that comes from selfless almsgiving is not done to attain any material object or purpose. When it is because there is no object and purpose to this devotion, the merit of formless almsgiving is the greatest form of devotion, which to some can be inconceivable. There are various forms of devotion. Anyone who selflessly gives away one's material, spiritual, and soul wealth shows devotion. Devotion without a purpose is impossible for ordinary people. The devotion of the world has a utilitarian purpose. After giving, people have a kind of expectation, expecting to achieve one's own goal, expecting to realize one's own ideal. The devotion of those with the Mahayana wish is not purposeful. They just give and never expect to get anything in return or achieve any goal. Devotion for a purpose is because you don't understand the way of the greatest creator. The way of the greatest creator is just and fair. If you don't believe in the greatest creator and the fairness of the way of the greatest creator, you will not be able to be devoted without some purpose. Only by being selfless can you reach your goal, and only by being selfless can you accomplish this yourself. The more selfless you are, the more you can enjoy everything. The more selfless you are, the more you can experience happiness and freedom. If you are truly unselfish and selfless, you are a celestial being or Buddha, or even a god. The sum of the positive and negative energies of the universe is zero. The more you give, the more you will receive and enjoy. As long as you give, your receiving won't go away, you will definitely receive. If it weren't like this, the universe would have disappeared long ago. To obtain the blessings of the kingdom of heaven, we must give all our life. If we want to get the blessings of the kingdom of heaven by just giving a little, it definitely won't do. We need to give ourselves completely. Don't expect to get anything or achieve any goal. Just pay and give and leave the rest to the management of Tao, if you believe that Tao is fair. In reality, we are often confused by a phenomenon, that is, many people seem to have paid but did not get anything in return, so they feel that the Tao is unreliable. Since the Tao is unreliable, they use human ingenuity, dexterity, and cleverness, which is the cognition of the mortal eye. If you have the Dharma eye and the Buddha eye, you will see that once you have devoted yourself, you will get a corresponding gain. If you pay by money, you may not get money, you may get health and safety, or your bad causal trajectory might be changed. You may get your wealth stored in heaven, which you will enjoy in heaven after your death, and so on. We should give and make devotion without considering what others will do. You give yours and others give theirs. Don't hope to get compliments or rewards from others. The troubles and pains of the world come from always expecting and demanding from others. Once their goal is not achieved, they will be angry, complain, resent, explode with rage, doubt, blame themselves, and regret, so on and so on. How could they climb to the pinnacle of life and life? I love you, whether you love me or not. To love is my business. Not to love is your business. If I build a Xanadu is my business. If you have a powerful force to demolish it, it is your business. I do not dispute, argue, or confront. You do your business, I mind mine. I have no complaints, no regrets, no hate, and no pity for what I have done. I have devoted my whole life, but if my life is still difficult and suffering hardships or even poverty-stricken, I still have no complaints, no regrets, no hate, no pity, because I firmly believe in the greatest creator, the just arrangement of Tao. No matter what Tao arranges, I will willingly accept it. Whether I can receive or not, it is not something I should worry about. It's the business of Tao's arrangement and management. What I need to alert myself to is, have I made devotion unselfishly? If I have no material wealth, have I devoted my spiritual wealth? If I have no spiritual wealth, have I contributed soul wealth? If I don't give anything, how can I have a better tomorrow and future? I am an honest person. I don't have deep wisdom, profound knowledge, and impressive skills. I don't have a backer that can make me rise to the top. I only have a one-track mind, which is my firm belief that the greatest creator is perceptive of the slightest. The Tao has a fair arrangement for everything, and that selfless devotion will lead to a glorious tomorrow and future. 让我们活在精神心灵世界里. Let us live in the spiritual world and soul world. Xiefeng. April 5th, 2017. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. There are three worlds in life: the material world, the spiritual world, and the soul world. The world in which people are busy with food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, old age, sickness, death, fame and fortune, and status is the material world. The world in which people work hard for happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness is the spiritual world. The world in which people pay and devote selflessly and unselfishly for joy, bliss, light, and auspiciousness is the soul world. A person, as long as he has always been busy with food, clothing, shelter, birth, old age, sickness, death, money, power, fame, and profit, is living in the material world. A person, as long as he is working hard for happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness, is living in the spiritual world. A person, as long as he is selflessly, unselfishly, and joyfully paying and devoting, must be living in the soul world. The material world is heavy, the spiritual world is light, and the soul world is ethereal. Animals live in the material world, humans live in the spiritual world, and celestial beings, Buddhas, and angels live in the soul world. The life that lives in trouble, pain, anxiety, sorrow, worry, and fear for a lifetime lives in the material world. The life that lives a happy, joyous, free, and blessed life for a lifetime lives in the spiritual world. The life that lives in joy, bliss, unrestraint, and elegance for a lifetime lives in the soul world. No matter how you live, as long as you live in the material world, your life destined to be a tragedy. No matter how you live, as long as you live in the spiritual world, your life is destined to be a farce. No matter how you live, as long as you live in the soul world, your life is destined to be like paradise. Without rich soul wealth, it is better to live in the spiritual world. Without rich spiritual wealth, it is better to live in the material world. A life with rich soul wealth must be rich in spiritual and material wealth, and a life rich in spiritual wealth must be rich in material wealth. Material wealth supports spiritual wealth, and spiritual wealth supports soul wealth. Soul wealth will bring spiritual wealth, and spiritual wealth will bring material wealth. In fact, as a human being, it is impossible not to live in the material world because of its physical existence. Therefore, we must take care of both material wealth and spiritual and soul wealth. However, you must have a focus. If you focus on material wealth, it is equivalent to living in the material world. If you focus on spiritual wealth, it is equivalent to living in the spiritual world. If you focus on soul wealth, it is equivalent to living in the soul world. Between money, affection, and sex, nature, which one are you willing to choose?
做人要有一点宗教情怀。
As humans, we need to have a little religious sentiment. Xiefeng. April 20th, 2017. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Religious sentiment is the ability to trust and surrender to a certain power, personality, or theory unconditionally, undoubtedly, and devoutly. It can make people feel tranquil and peaceful in their hearts, make people feel broad-minded and detached, not afraid of the roughness and difficulties on the roads of life, and make people have endless beautiful reveries and longings for the future. Let me first talk about my own religious sentiment. I believe in the greatest creator completely. I often crawl under the feet of the greatest creator and feel that it is the most beautiful experience in life to crawl under the feet of the greatest creator. If the greatest creator rubs his feet on my head, I will feel that it is a great glory. If the greatest creator touches my head with his hand, I will die of happiness. Of course, I don't have enough merit and virtue to let the greatest creator touch my head, so I dare not expect it. I have complete trust in Christ Jesus and Buddha Shakyamuni. I will never doubt their teachings. I often stay with Jesus. It is the feeling of a grandson staying with his loving grandfather. The holy light shines on me. My heart is transparent and spotless. I am extremely peaceful and calm. I often spend time with Shakyamuni. It is the feeling of birds flying in the woods, roosting and singing, and the feeling of eagles flying freely in the endless blue sky. Far away, deep, magnificent, solemn, auspicious, and loving. I feel so happy. I'm a little bit naughty while staying with Lao Tzu. It's common to pull his beard. Drinking and acting shamelessly with him is also full of fun. But in my heart, I admire him incomparably. What he wants me to do, I will do it without hesitation. He is so kind, amiable, natural, peaceful, also humorous, unrestrained, and elegant. It is precisely because of my religious sentiment that I have embarked on the road of establishing Life Genuine since 2001. In the beginning, it was not called Life Genuine, but The Journey to Transcending Time and Space. Since then, for 17 years, I have not stopped going forward, working hard every day, never slacking off. I never consider whether I will encounter trouble or even be decapitated if I go this way. Over the past 17 years, I have experienced countless setbacks and blows, and it is common for me to be insulted, abused, and framed. Some kind people have reminded me, be careful. Be careful of being thrown into jail by the government. I have said that everything runs in the Tao. I have given my life to the greatest creator and my life to the management of Tao. As for what retribution or result I will get, that is not something I should consider. I just follow the will of the greatest creator and the teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints. As for whether I might be arrested and put in prison or even beheaded, I don't care. I am more than 60 years old, and I have lived peacefully and healthily to the age of 60. I am grateful and contented. In fact, I still think that I'm just a child, and playing naughtily and jokingly with other Chanyuan celestials is still my sense of fun, appeal, and entertainment. Having religious sentiments or not can make people completely different from each other. With a little religious sentiment, people live steadfastly, sincerely, honestly, ingeniously, peacefully, tranquilly, abundantly, calmly, and transcendentally. If people don't have any religious sentiments, they will live worriedly, impetuously, anxiously, fearfully, suspiciously, and distrustfully everywhere, always on guard and vigilant, not tranquil in mind, always with the feeling of sitting on pins and needles, or complacent and arrogant, bluffing, feeling that their talents are unrecognized, the world is unfair. In short, they cannot get any peace of mind. People are willing to surrender if they have a bit of religious sentiment. Surrender is not a bad thing. I surrender to the greatest creator, surrender to Jesus, Shakyamuni, and have even surrendered to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva many times. I don't think there is anything wrong with that. Their EQ, IQ, and SQ are all higher than mine, so why not surrender? When surrendering to the greatest creator, gods, Buddhas, and celestial beings, on the contrary, I feel that the world is vast. I am free and at peace, so why not surrender? I am even willing to surrender to an ordinary person. If he is selfless, unselfish, has lofty ideals, and is working hard on putting them into practice. If I surrender, I have no doubts. But what if the person you surrendered to is wrong? My philosophy is this. Since his EQ, IQ, and SQ are higher than mine, he cannot be wrong, and even if he is wrong, what does it matter? Wouldn't I make a mistake if I do the same with my EQ, IQ, and SQ? Besides, what is wrong? What is right? What was wrong at one time is totally right several years or several hundred years later, and what was thought to be right at another time is totally wrong after decades of years or several hundred years. People Do cultivate some religious sentiment. We have nothing great in ourselves. Don't think that we have understood the mysteries of the universe, and we can guide the world just because we have some skills. When facing the universe, we are too small. We can't tell the difference between good and evil, right and wrong. The universe, the grand script, is too complicated, too mysterious, and too subtle. I have studied with great concentration for 17 years and still feel that I have only got to know and understand a drop of water in the ocean. Only pious belief, with a little religious sentiment, can lead us to a smooth road and let us step into a bright future.